The night was silent, and Enoch slept deeply until an intense light pierced through the darkness. He woke up startled, his heart racing, and saw that the room was overtaken by an overwhelming presence. It was not the ordinary light of the sun or the moon, but a radiant glory that seemed to pulsate with life. Before him stood celestial beings, imposing and majestic, with eyes shining like stars and voices echoing like thunder. "Enoch," said one of the figures, its voice reverberating through the air, "rise. You have been chosen to witness what no mortal has ever seen." Before he could respond, the atmosphere around him shifted. The ground seemed to tremble, and an invisible force lifted him up. Enoch tried to understand what was happening, but the vision of these creatures left him speechless. "You will be taken to the heavens," the angel continued, "and you will see the mysteries of the universe. Do not fear, for the Lord has chosen you." Enoch felt the weight of these words. He was an ordinary man, but now he stood before the extraordinary. Something within him told him his life would never be the same. Suddenly, the light around Enoch grew brighter. The ceiling vanished, and he was surrounded by a powerful wind that seemed to carry him to another dimension. As he ascended, he saw the earth receding below him. Mountains, rivers, and even the stars became tiny points in the vastness. The angels accompanied him, their every movement radiating an overwhelming authority. "You will see what is to come," said the angel leading the group. "You will witness the destiny of the righteous and the judgment of the wicked. Nothing will be hidden from you, Enoch." Despite his fear, Enoch felt an unexpected courage rising within him. He knew he was stepping into something far greater than he could imagine. When they finally stopped, he stood before a glowing gate. It was a sight unlike anything that had ever existed on Earth. Beyond it, an infinite kingdom stretched out. "Prepare yourself," the angel said, "for your journey begins now." At that moment, Enoch realized he was no longer just a man. He was an observer, a witness to the divine plans that would shape not only his generation but the entire future of creation. Enoch's vision continued. He was taken to a place that resembled a vast and desolate mountain, surrounded by a dark sky. There, he saw a group of angels gathered, their presence imposing, but their actions unsettling. These were not angels in obedience, but fallen ones, filled with intentions contrary to the divine will. At the center stood Semjaza, their leader. With a commanding voice, he persuaded the others, "Let us make a pact. We will descend to the earth, take the daughters of men as wives, and bear children with them." His words were met with murmurs of approval. Some hesitated, but Semjaza assured them, "I will take full responsibility if anything happens." The angels agreed and descended to earth. In their new form, they took human women as wives and fathered giant offspring known as the Nephilim. These descendants were not ordinary. Their strength and size surpassed any earthly creature. Yet, with their immense power came destruction. The Nephilim devoured everything in their path. Crops were devastated, herds decimated, and when resources ran out, they began to consume mankind itself. Chaos followed wherever they went. Villages were destroyed, and the blood of the innocent cried out from the earth. Enoch watched with sadness and fear. He saw how the once abundant earth was consumed by corruption, a direct result of the rebellion of the angels. These angels not only fathered giants, but also brought forbidden knowledge. They taught men how to manipulate the natural world for selfish and destructive purposes. It was a time of darkness. As Enoch observed these scenes, he heard a deep lament, almost as if creation itself was weeping. Men who once lived in harmony with the earth now suffered the consequences of knowledge they were never meant to bear. The order established by God had been broken, and humanity bore the cost. Enoch also understood the gravity of the fallen angel's decision. The pact they made was not just an individual choice, but a collective rejection of divine authority. They knew the consequences, but still chose to act against the Creator. The images showed the giants growing in violence, fighting over territories, and amplifying the chaos. The world, once orderly, was on the brink of ruin. It was at this moment that Enoch realized God's judgment was inevitable. Yet, even amidst this destruction, there was a silent promise. Enoch's gaze turned to the heavens. He knew the Lord's justice would prevail. Something greater was coming, something that would restore order and correct the corruption. As Enoch continued his vision, he was taken to observe the actions of another fallen angel who played a central role in humanity's corruption, Azazel. Unlike Semyaza, whose rebellion centered on the pact of the angels, Azazel brought something even more devastating: forbidden knowledge. He not only descended to earth, but introduced skills and practices that distorted creation and led mankind away from the path of God. Azazel taught men the art of crafting weapons of war, swords, shields, and armor. The purpose of creation was stained by violence, and conflicts among tribes and families intensified. Humanity, which once relied on divine protection, now used iron and bronze to destroy one another. To women, he revealed secrets of adornment. Polished mirrors, ornaments, and cosmetics were taught to enhance vanity and attract attention. Though these seemed harmless, their impact was profound, fostering envy, greed, and divisions within families and communities. But Azazel did not act alone. Other fallen angels followed his example, teaching various forms of forbidden knowledge. Some revealed the secrets of astrology, guiding men to seek answers in the stars rather than the Creator. Others taught enchantments and sorcery, introducing practices that led humanity away from divine truth and into reliance on illusory powers. Enoch saw that the impact of these revelations was not only physical but deeply spiritual. The hearts of men grew increasingly hardened, unable to discern right from wrong. Pride swelled, and the pursuit of power and knowledge replaced dependence on God. The world was now in a state of utter chaos. Meanwhile, Enoch noticed that creation itself was reacting to the corruption. Rivers seemed to flow with less vigor, trees withered prematurely, and the heavens grew heavier. It was as if the world itself was being crushed under the weight of sin. Yet, Enoch knew that the actions of Azazel and his followers would not go unnoticed. He heard a celestial voice declaring, "The Lord sees all things. His patience is great, but judgment is inevitable. The time of harvest is near, and those who sow destruction will reap condemnation." As a witness, Enoch felt the gravity of what he observed. He understood that the actions of Azazel and the other fallen angels not only corrupted humanity, but also provoked all of creation to cry out for redemption and restoration. Enoch's vision now led him to hear the cries of human voices. He saw men and women in despair, crushed by the violence of the giants, the corruption of the fallen angels, and the weight of their own wrong choices. Rivers of spilled blood stained the earth, and prayers rose like an unending cry to the heavens. "Lord, deliver us. How long will evil prevail?" The celestial angels, witnesses to the suffering covering the earth, brought humanity's cries before the Lord of Spirits. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel stood reverently before the divine throne. With deep respect, they reported everything they had seen. Creation is corrupted. The earth groans under the weight of the giants and the destruction they have brought. Humanity suffers, and the righteous cry out for justice. The Lord heard the cry and responded with words that reverberated throughout the cosmos. "The time to act has come. I will destroy corruption and purify the earth. The fallen angels and the giants they fathered will face my judgment." Enoch saw the divine decree being established. He saw the Lord give specific orders to each of the faithful celestial angels. Uriel was entrusted with warning Noah, the only righteous man of his generation, about the coming flood that would cleanse the earth. Michael was commanded to gather the fallen angels to face their condemnation. Gabriel was sent against the giants, while Raphael was tasked with punishing Azazel, who had led the corruption. But judgment was not only about destruction. The divine response also contained a plan for restoration. The Lord declared, "I will preserve the righteous and give the earth a new chance. Evil will be contained, and my creation will be renewed." As Enoch observed, he understood that humanity's cry had been heard, but also that God's patience had reached its limit. He felt the urgency of justice, but also the mercy that would preserve the lives of those who sincerely sought the Lord. Enoch saw a scene of hope amidst the chaos. His vision led him to Noah, a righteous and upright man in his generation. While the world around him sank deeper into corruption and violence, Noah walked with God, living in obedience to his will. It was to Noah that the angel Uriel appeared, delivering a message that would change the destiny of humanity. "Noah," said Uriel, his voice resonating with authority, "the earth is filled with violence because of the giants and the corruption of mankind. The Lord has seen everything and decreed that the earth will be purified. A great flood will cover the world, but you and your family will find grace before the Lord. Prepare to build an ark, for within it you will preserve life and secure the future of creation." Noah listened carefully, his heart heavy with the fate of the earth, yet determined to obey. Uriel gave him detailed instructions: the dimensions of the ark, the materials to be used, and the need to gather pairs of all living creatures. Although Noah understood the magnitude of the task, he did not hesitate. His faith in the Lord was unwavering. As Noah began his work, Enoch was taken to witness the actions of other celestial angels assigned to execute divine judgment. Raphael was tasked with punishing Azazel, whose corruption had contaminated the entire earth. Raphael descended upon him, binding him in chains and casting him into a deep cavern in the wilderness, covering it with sharp stones. There, Azazel would wait until the day of the great judgment. Meanwhile, Gabriel was sent against the giants. His mission was clear: to eliminate the hybrid offspring that devastated creation. Gabriel led a celestial battle in which the giants, once feared by men, were defeated by the power of God. They fell, crying out in terror, fully aware that their time had come to an end. Michael, on the other hand, was entrusted with dealing with the fallen angels. He gathered the leaders of the rebellion, including Semjaza, and imprisoned them in dark abysses where they would remain until the day of the final judgment. Enoch saw how these angels, once glorious, were now overcome with despair as they faced the inevitable end of their rebellion. Meanwhile, Noah continued the construction of the ark. Many around him mocked his obedience, deeming his task of building a large vessel on dry land foolish. However, Noah remained steadfast. He knew that Uriel's words were not just a warning but a promise of redemption for those who remained faithful. Enoch's vision also revealed Noah's efforts to gather the animals as commanded by the Lord. Each species, great and small, began to move toward the ark as if guided by an unseen force. For Noah, this was a constant reminder of God's sovereignty and that his plan was unfolding. When the ark was finally completed, Enoch saw the skies darken and heavy clouds form. Uriel appeared again to Noah, saying, "Enter the ark, you and your family. The time has come, and the waters will cover the earth." Noah entered, followed by his wife, his sons, and their wives. The sound of the ark's gates closing echoed like a mark in time. From that moment, creation awaited the flood that would renew the earth. As a witness, Enoch felt a mixture of sorrow and hope. The earth would be purified, but the Lord, in His mercy, had provided a way to preserve life. Noah's mission was not just to save his family and the animals, it was also a symbol of God's promise of restoration. Enoch observed as divine judgment finally fell upon the fallen angels and the giants, marking the pinnacle of the earth's purification. The sound of celestial trumpets echoed through the heavens, announcing that the rebellion of the angels and the reign of the giants had come to an end. He saw the skies open, and Michael, the prince of the heavenly hosts, descended with authority to execute the divine sentence. Michael gathered the leaders of the rebellion, including Semjaza, the one who had persuaded the other angels to descend to earth. Semjaza and his companions, who had once walked gloriously among the heavenly hosts, were now bound in chains and overcome with despair. They were taken to dark abysses, places created to contain those who rebelled against the Creator. Their voices, once filled with arrogance, were now cries of lament. They begged for mercy, but their petitions were not heard. "You abandoned the heavens for corrupt desires and brought destruction upon the earth," declared Michael. "Now you will remain imprisoned until the great day of the final judgment, when you will answer for your deeds before the Lord." Meanwhile, Gabriel continued his mission to deal with the giants, the Nephilim, hybrid descendants of the fallen angels and human women. Enoch saw the giants fighting against the celestial forces, but their physical strength and size were no match for the power of God. One by one, the giants fell, and their cries echoed through the valleys. Many of them knew they were destined for destruction, and in their despair, they lamented their own birth. The final moments of the giants were marked by a profound sense of tragedy. Enoch saw that, despite their violence and cruelty, they were the offspring of a forbidden union and had never known peace or kindness. Yet, their existence had caused such devastation that eradication was the only solution. Azazel, whose name had become synonymous with corruption, also faced his punishment. Already imprisoned by Raphael in a desolate cave, he was covered with eternal darkness. The Lord of Spirits declared, "Upon him lies all the guilt for what he taught humanity. He will remain here until the final judgment, when he will be cast into eternal fire." Enoch saw the impact of this purification. As the fallen angels were imprisoned and the giants destroyed, the earth began to respond. The skies, once heavy, began to clear. The waters which had been tainted seemed to be renewed. There was a pause in the chaos, as if creation itself had let out a sigh of relief. The fallen angels, now bound, witnessed the end of their offspring. The destruction of the giants served as a cruel reminder of their choices. They had attempted to create something that defied God's order, but now everything had been undone. For Enoch, this moment was marked by a mixture of justice and warning. He knew that God would not allow corruption to remain, but also understood that the Lord did not delight in destruction. There was a greater purpose in every divine action: to restore order and protect those who still sought righteousness. With the fallen angels imprisoned and the giants destroyed, creation was ready to be renewed. Enoch knew the next step would be to witness how God would fulfill his promise of redemption. After witnessing the judgment of the fallen angels and the destruction of the giants, Enoch was taken on a new journey. This time, he would not only observe corruption and judgment but explore the deepest mysteries of creation. Guided by celestial angels, Enoch was lifted above the visible heavens, where he beheld realities that had never been revealed to mankind. The first vision granted to him was of the throne of God. An indescribable light emanated from the center of the universe, where the Lord of Spirits reigned in justice. Surrounding the throne, Enoch saw myriads of angels, beings of indescribable glory, who sang hymns of praise to the Creator. Every word they uttered vibrated as if sustaining the very foundations of the cosmos. Enoch felt a peace and reverence so profound that he could barely remain standing. "These are the guardians of divine orders," explained one of the angels accompanying him. "They ensure that the decrees of the Most High are carried out throughout creation." Enoch saw the books of heaven, detailed records containing the deeds of all humanity from the beginning to the end of time. He realized that nothing escaped the eyes of God. The journey continued, and Enoch was taken to the far reaches of the universe. He saw the portals that controlled the winds, the reservoirs of rain, and the radiance of the stars. The angels explained how every element of creation had a specific purpose, functioning in perfect harmony under God's order. "What you see," said one of them, "is a testament to the eternal wisdom of the Lord. Every detail was designed to reflect the glory of its Creator." Enoch was also shown places of judgment. He saw the abysses where the fallen angels awaited their final judgment, bound in darkness and chains. He observed the souls of the righteous resting in peace, awaiting the promise of resurrection. But he also saw the places reserved for the wicked, where eternal torment reflected the choices made during their lives. Each vision seemed to expand Enoch's understanding of the universe and God's purpose. He began to realize that his journey was not only to witness but also to record and pass these mysteries on to future generations. At the end of this stage, Enoch was brought back to the celestial throne. "Your mission is just beginning," said one of the angels. "You will be an intercessor, a messenger, and a sign for those who seek the Lord. What you have seen today will serve as a testimony for all ages." After his visions of the celestial wonders and the places of judgment, Enoch was taken to an even more extraordinary revelation. He was brought to a place of unparalleled glory, where a majestic being awaited him. The angels accompanying him said, "This is the Son of Man, the chosen one, who will judge sinners and redeem the righteous. He has been prepared since the beginning of time to fulfill the purposes of the Most High." Enoch beheld the Son of Man. His countenance radiated kindness and justice, and within him was an authority that transcended anything Enoch had previously seen. Around him, the heavens and the earth seemed to bow in reverence, recognizing him as the executor of the divine will. The angels explained, "He is the one to whom judgment and redemption have been entrusted. To the wicked he will bring justice, exposing their hidden deeds and dismantling corrupt kingdoms. To the righteous he will offer comfort, peace, and eternal life." In his vision, Enoch saw the Son of Man rising to judge the nations. He walked among the corrupt kingdoms, breaking the scepters of wicked rulers and bringing an end to systems built on oppression and deceit. No evil could stand before him. His judgment was final and just, like a flame consuming all impurity. Yet the Son of Man did not come solely to judge. He was also the bearer of hope for the righteous. Enoch saw how he welcomed those who had remained faithful, offering them a place in his eternal kingdom. In the eyes of these men and women were tears, not of sorrow, but of joy at finally finding rest. The angels revealed to Enoch that the role of the Son of Man was central to God's plan. He was the mediator between the Creator and creation, the means through which justice would be fully restored and sin eradicated. "He is the guarantee that the promise of redemption will be fulfilled," said the angels. Enoch realized that the Son of Man was the focal point of all the visions he had received. Everything pointed to him: the judgments, the rewards, and the renewal of creation. He was the bridge between heaven and earth, the perfect reflection of the divine will. At the end of this revelation, Enoch was overcome with deep reverence. He understood that the Son of Man was not only an agent of judgment, but the ultimate expression of the Lord's love and justice. Enoch felt the weight of his role as a witness to these truths and knew he must faithfully convey them to future generations. After beholding the Son of Man and his glory, Enoch was led to a vision that starkly contrasted the fate of the righteous and the sinners. He saw two distinct paths, one leading to eternal peace and the other to endless torment. With each step, he understood more deeply the impact of the choices made in life. First, the angels took him to a place of indescribable beauty. There were vast gardens, filled with light and harmony. Here, the righteous were gathered, their faces radiant with joy and peace. They were clothed in glorious garments, symbols of their purity and divine reward. The very air seemed filled with songs of gratitude. "These," explained an angel, "are those who remained faithful to the Most High, even in the midst of corruption. Here they will rest forever." Enoch saw that the righteous were not only at peace, but also participating in the governance of the renewed creation. They were the chosen ones to inhabit the new earth, where justice prevailed. The earth seemed to rejuvenate before them. Trees blossomed, and rivers flowed with a clarity that reflected divine splendor. "This is the destiny of those who seek the Lord," said the angel. "They will reign with the Son of Man and live in his light forever." Next, Enoch was taken to a place of darkness and despair. Here, the sinners were gathered, their faces marked by the torment of their choices. He saw those who had rejected the Lord's way, who had participated in corruption and violence. "These are those who refused justice," the angel explained. "They reap what they have sown." The place was desolate. Flames crackled in the distance, but they offered no light, only suffering. The cries of the wicked echoed, not only in pain but also in belated repentance. Enoch saw confessions being made, but they were not accepted. "The time for mercy has passed for them," said the angel. "Now they face eternal judgment." Enoch observed with a heavy heart. He understood that the Lord's justice was perfect, but the fate of the sinners was a harrowing reminder of what happens when one lives apart from God. He knew his mission was to warn future generations to choose the path of the righteous. After the vision of the sinner's fate, Enoch was taken back to the place of the righteous. Here, he saw something even more glorious: the final reward of those who had remained faithful to the Lord, even amidst corruption and suffering. The righteous were gathered in a renewed kingdom where there was no more pain, fear, or suffering. They received garments of glory, brilliant robes that reflected the purity and obedience of their lives. Each one was at peace, walking under a celestial light that emanated directly from the Son of Man. This light illuminated the entire earth, and there was no need for sun or moon, for the divine presence was enough to sustain all creation. Enoch saw the righteous reigning with the Son of Man as had been promised. They governed with wisdom and justice, tending to the purified new earth. The air was filled with hymns of worship, and every corner of the kingdom radiated harmony and unity. The earth, once devastated by giants and corruption, now flourished as never before. Fruit trees stretched across vast plains, rivers of crystal-clear water flowed through the valleys, and the sound of laughter and joy filled the air. As he observed, Enoch realized that the righteous were not only receiving these blessings, but were also living in communion with God. The Lord himself was among them, walking in their midst. There was no longer any separation between the Creator and his creation. "This is the new kingdom," said one of the angels, "where the elect will dwell forever." Yet, as the righteous enjoyed this new beginning, Enoch heard a voice echoing from the places of judgment. The sinners were crying out for forgiveness. They made belated confessions, lamenting their choices and pleading for a second chance. However, the words of an angel resounded. The time for mercy has passed. Now the righteous live in glory, while the wicked face the consequences of their actions. This vision left Enoch with a profound sense of urgency. He knew he needed to pass on this message to future generations. The reward of the righteous and the new kingdom were not merely promises, they were a reality prepared for those who chose to follow the Lord's way. Enoch, after witnessing the reward of the righteous and the judgment of the wicked, was given a new mission. He was to act as an intercessor, a mediator between the fallen angels and the Lord. The weight of this responsibility was immense, but Enoch knew that his obedience was crucial to fulfilling the divine purpose. He was taken to a dark place where the fallen angels were imprisoned. Their once glorious forms were now covered in shame. They cried out desperately, their voices echoing in pleas. "Enoch, you who have walked with God, intercede for us. Ask the Lord to forgive our transgressions and free us from this prison." Enoch heard their petitions, but knew he could not act on his own. He carefully recorded the words of the fallen angels, their confessions, and their late repentance, and brought these pleas before the throne of the Lord of Spirits. However, when he presented the petitions, the response was clear and irrevocable. The Lord replied to Enoch, "These angels knew my glory, walked in my presence, and received my trust. Yet they rebelled, corrupting the earth and leading men away from me. There is no forgiveness for them. They will remain imprisoned until the great day of judgment." Enoch returned to the place where the fallen angels were imprisoned. He approached them, but his words were not of comfort. "You made a pact among yourselves, disobeyed the Most High, and caused limitless destruction. The Lord has heard your words, but will not accept your pleas. Your fate is sealed." Upon hearing this, the fallen angels wailed with even greater intensity. They knew there was no longer any hope of redemption. The vision of their children, the giants, being destroyed before their eyes was a bitter reminder of their choices. Now, bound in darkness and chains, they awaited the final judgment. Despite the gravity of the message, Enoch faithfully fulfilled his task. He understood that his intercession was more an act of obedience than an attempt to alter the divine decree. He witnessed the perfect balance between the justice and holiness of the Lord. His role as mediator made him realize that God's decisions were always just, even when difficult to comprehend. Before departing, Enoch declared to the fallen angels, "Let this testimony serve for all generations. Let mankind know that disobedience to the Creator leads to judgment, and that true life is only for those who follow the Lord's path." After completing his mission as an intercessor, Enoch was guided by the angels to a new stage of his journey. This time, he would be taught the mysteries of creation. He was taken to behold the foundations of the cosmos, where the secrets of the heavens, the earth, and the natural elements were revealed to him. The first vision was of celestial portals. Enoch saw where the winds emerged, where the rain was released, and how the reservoirs of the clouds were organized. All of this, explained the angel accompanying him, was carefully designed by the Most High. Nothing happens by chance, and every element has its place and purpose. The angels showed Enoch the cycles of the stars and the paths of the sun and moon. He saw how the constellations moved with precision, reflecting divine order. "These stars," said the angel, "not only illuminate the heavens but also serve as signs, testifying to God's glory and guiding mankind on earth." Enoch learned that even the most common natural phenomena, such as the blowing wind or the crashing waves, were governed by celestial decrees. He saw the purpose of each element, the sun's heat sustaining life, the waters bringing fertility to the land, and even the thunder, which proclaimed God's authority. In a particularly striking moment, Enoch was taken to a place where angels guarded the treasures of rain and the reservoirs of snow and ice. "At the appointed time," said the angels, "the Lord commands these elements to be released to fulfill His purposes on earth." Enoch also saw the harmony of natural cycles, such as the changing seasons and the winds obeying a perfect order. Everything was interconnected, reflecting the Creator's wisdom and power. He realized that nothing, no matter how small, was outside the divine plan. Finally, Enoch understood that these mysteries were not merely technical knowledge, but testimonies to God's greatness. He was tasked with transmitting these revelations to mankind so they would recognize that the order of creation pointed to the Creator and His eternal purpose. "These truths," concluded the angel, "are so that mankind may know that the Lord governs all things and that His glory is present in every detail of the universe." Enoch was led to a final vision that revealed the future of creation after judgment and purification. He saw the earth renewed, free from corruption, where justice and peace reigned. It was a scene of indescribable beauty, where every element seemed to be in perfect harmony with the divine will. The angels explained, "This is the era of justice, the time when the elect will rule under the light of the Son of Man. The wicked will no longer exist, for they have been removed from creation, and the righteous will dwell in eternal peace." The earth was like a glorious garden. The fields produced abundant fruit, rivers flowed with crystal-clear waters, and the trees were laden with life. The entire environment seemed to sing praises to the Creator. Enoch saw men and women walking without fear or suffering, their faces radiant with joy and gratitude. At the center of this kingdom was the Son of Man, reigning with authority and justice. Under His rule, there was no oppression, pain, or tears. He guided the elect, and His presence alone was enough to sustain life and order throughout creation. "He is the light of the world," the angels said, "and His glory will never fade." Enoch also observed how creation responded to the divine presence. The skies shone brighter, and the earth seemed to pulse with vitality. Everything was at peace, as it was in the beginning, before the entrance of sin. Justice was not just a concept, but a lived reality for all who inhabited this new kingdom. The angels explained that this restoration was the fulfillment of the divine plan, a world where God and mankind could dwell together without separation. Enoch saw how God's love and justice were fully manifested in this new era. He understood that the restoration was not just physical, but spiritual, bringing complete redemption to those who had persevered. Finally, Enoch heard a voice saying, "All things have been made new. Those who trusted in the Lord will find rest, and His light will be their eternal dwelling." With this vision, Enoch understood the ultimate purpose of his journey: to witness the hope of a restored creation and proclaim the coming era of justice. At the conclusion of his journey, Enoch was taken to a place where time seemed to cease. There, amidst eternal light, he received his final instructions. His mission was nearly complete, but there was one last duty: to record all the visions and revelations he had been given so that future generations might understand God's purposes. An angel presented him with a celestial book, glowing like refined gold. Written within it were the future events and decrees of the Most High. "Enoch," said the angel, "everything you have seen will serve as an eternal testimony. Record these mysteries so that humanity will know what is to come and comprehend God's justice." Enoch began to write, guided by the Spirit of God. He recorded the revelations about the fallen angels, the fate of the giants, the final judgment, and the promise of restoration. Every word he wrote was like a seed planted in time, destined to flourish when the appointed moment arrived. Among the prophetic words was the promise of eternity for the righteous. Enoch wrote about the new kingdom, where the Son of Man would reign, and the elect would live in communion with the Creator. He described how divine light would illuminate every corner of creation and how the righteous would enjoy peace, joy, and eternal glory. But Enoch also recorded warnings for the wicked. He wrote of the judgment awaiting those who rejected God's will and persisted in corruption. These words were not merely warnings, they were urgent calls for mankind to choose the path of righteousness while there was still time. Finally, Enoch praised the Lord of Spirits in his writings, exalting his wisdom, justice, and love. He understood that the entire divine plan, from creation to restoration, was an expression of God's perfect character. When Enoch completed his task, he heard one final word from the angels. "Now you return to bear witness, but know that your legacy will be eternal. Your words will reach generations and guide the righteous until the day of consummation." With this message, Enoch concluded his mission, confident that what he had seen and recorded would be both a blessing and a warning for all humanity. If this story inspired or intrigued you, don't let it stop here. Share this message with someone who might need to hear it today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to explore more untold mysteries and powerful revelations. Let's continue uncovering the wonders of creation and the plans of the Almighty together. See you in the next journey.